Welcome into this edition of Above Sea Level. I'm Wayne Viner. Our guest today, Rob Olson with Technology Source. We do have to admit it's winter here. Rob has experience with Chicago weather, but he's coming to you from sunny Arizona. He looks much warmer and more relaxed than do I. Rob, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, I've sold all my snow shovels and my winter clothes, so I'm in trouble if it gets cold here.
All right. I have heard it is easier to shovel the sunshine than it is to shovel the snow.
Correct. We're very happy with our hot summers, and in fact, it keeps people from moving here, which is nice. We don't want it to be crowded like LA.
Yeah. So I have known Rob for a while. We do have a business relationship. I have to go ahead and say that, get that out front. We are a partner with Technology Source, and he relies on VienerX for technology services. So we've met before. I just want to get this started like we do with all of these. Let the audience get a chance to know you, the top 10 questions that pop into my head. I know you're not a sports guy. I'm going to go with the music thing. What's your favorite band?
I got to tell you, I was a DJ in college, paid my way through college as a DJ. So I'm an EDM guy, and I'm a big fan of Calvin Harris. I like to listen to him on weekends if I'm sitting outside and relaxing.
Yeah,
so not really, I'm not sure. It's not sure. That's not really a band, but it's a musical artist. Let's put it that way.
I'll take it. They play that type of music at the timeouts at the Maryland games. It gets the crowd pumped up, gets the place rocking. Best business book you've seen or read recently?
My favorite book ever is Customer Intimacy by Brian Tracy, because it speaks to the top 3 things that are required for a business has to achieve at least one of those 3 things to be successful. Either save costs, be extremely efficient, or be customer intimate. And that's something that has shaped my career because it helped focus me on what to focus on as a business leader.
Nice. Good. Best movie?
I'll break it down by genre a little bit. So comedy, I got to say Talladega Nights is one of my favorite movies. I think it's hilariously funny. Other movies, let's see, action movies. I'm a big fan of the Mission Impossible series. I like, a little bit of sci-fi. I think there's a lot of us that like Star Wars. I like the latter versions of Star Wars, which have been great. But Mission Impossible, action films in general are big with me.
First computer you've ever had?
That's easy. It was an Apple Mac Classic.
What year was that, or around what year?
I'm not even going to talk about that, Wayne. That's
it's too private.
Long before most people that are watching this were probably born. No, it was. I think it was like 87, 88. I'm sorry, 89. I was out of college at that point. Now I bought my first computer. It was a Mac Classic. Nice. A little box in a screen that was this big, and you couldn't see anything.
My first computer was a Televideo, which was in the movie The Breakfast Club in the library there. We just happened, father's business happened to be adopting a computer system, and it was an extra, and that's my first computer. It was 1980 something. Way back then, 2 5 1/4 floppy disks.
Well, I remember my dad had one that had the cassettes, so that's pretty disgusting.
Yep. Oh, the Commodore the Commodore 64 had a great baseball game on that thing.
64 with the CD with a little cassette. It would take you like an hour to download the game.
Yeah, it did. You're a bit of a car guy, and you're out there in Arizona where you can drive 1,000 miles an hour. So Mustang, Corvette, Porsche, which way do you go?
I like them all. I had a Mustang in high school. That was my car. I loved it. And but later on in life, I got into BMWs and got the German car bug, and now I'm a lucky owner of a 911. And I do like driving, except for when I have to drive to Vegas and the roads are just third world level. That car's not very good with uneven pavement, or it's terrible, in fact, for long distances. Not a car you want to take on a road trip, but it's fun nonetheless.
I'll come along once. I just want to see what this is like. Favorite place outside of the USA to travel?
I think any place warm. I've been to the Caribbean several times. Or the Caribbean, however you want to say it. I love going down there, nice and warm. I'd like to make it out to Europe. I'd love to go to Italy. Rome would be a favorite. It's just so beautiful. I'd love to go see that.
Excellent. All right, so you've been in telecom, you started in Chicago, you've sort of been all over the place, you ended up in Arizona. Give us a 30-second thumbnail sketch of how you ended up operating Technology Source.
Well, I've been in all sides of the business. I started my career as a channel manager managing sales teams for solution providers and made my way into leadership. Became a regional manager later on in my career. I became a channel partner, actually selling as an agent, working for a service, working for a distributor. And then I had an opportunity. I had an opportunity along the way to become a sales leader. I was an executive at several telecoms. And then later on decided this would be kind of a cool place to go. And I like the idea of having all these various facets, knowing the channel side, knowing the direct side, knowing the agency side, leadership. All of that really culminated in me coming here because now I have all these different facets and perspectives that I can utilize to help our partners be more successful.
Okay. And the partners that you speak about are technology advisors. For those that don't know, what is a TA or technology advisor, and how's that plug into Technology Source?
Yeah, we've got a group of about 750, probably 775 now that represent us. At our core, we're a distributor, but we prefer to refer to ourselves as a solution provider because we really do work hand in hand with our trusted advisors, our technology advisors, to help them identify things that'll be beneficial to their business. We take a lot of time to understand what they're doing, how they're doing it, what verticals they're playing in, what their business objectives are, and then come back with an action plan that helps them achieve those goals. And we feel that that's a much better approach. Then you're a partner within their business and you're not just a salesperson knocking on the door, asking for a deal. I don't think anybody wants to be sold to anymore, is what it boils down to. I don't. I'm sure you don't. But we do need people to help us solve our problems. And so we prefer to position ourselves in that manner.
We've been impressed by your strategic look at it. What's your blue ocean strategy or blue ocean, red ocean? How does that work with you?
Yeah, no, it's being in the channel for 30 years, I pay attention to what's happening around me. And what I started to see was a lot of sameness, right? When you're in the technology business, there's a lot of resale. And so you get a lot of the same products in the market. And when you have a similar product, the only place you can differentiate is price. And that becomes a very dangerous place to live because it becomes a race to zero. You start giving up your revenue, you give up your commissions, you start laying off salespeople. We had a different approach. We decided to look for services that were unique and highly differentiated as a way of entering the business, whether it was cold calling or whether it was adding that service to another service that might be more transactional, or whether it was just bringing something new to your base. And that was something that was very interesting, and our partners had a lot of success with as a business strategy, as a go-to-market strategy.
And it has worked. It has worked, and you have very interesting sales programs that you have because you're bringing new technologies to people and figuring out where that fits for their business. And I've seen it be extremely effective. And we'll be back in a moment with Rob after this commercial break. Since 1991, VienerX has made your company work.
From technology planning to project execution, VienerX turns IT into a growth engine. VienerX, enterprise technology, human first.
We're back with Rob Olson. Rob, you talked about your partner community and sort of how you got to Technology Source. You are well known, renowned as a market expert at what's going on out there, and you have found some strengths and some weaknesses in the partner community, and one of those brought VienerX into perfect alignment with Technology Source. So I'll let you figure out how you want to tell that story and how it led back to us.
Yeah, sure. No, I pay close attention to what's happening in the business, and we certainly noticed there was some attrition, and particularly with our partners that were in the telecom business, selling telecom services, voice and internet, and started taking a look at what was happening there. And one thing that I don't think anyone was really paying attention to was the role of the MSP. And MSPs have served a lot of value for our partners' customers for years, monitoring their networks and running out trucks and technicians when necessary to fix different things. And what I found was that these folks have changed their roles quite a bit. Recent research shows that 60% of them are now selling internet and 80% of them are now selling voice services, which means they're now a direct competitor with our partners, RTAs. And you and I talked about this, And I shared this challenge, and the idea of creating a partner ecosystem kind of came forth out of that meeting, and it made a lot of sense, right? Right now our partners that aren't selling IT services can now monetize IT services. They can monetize what the MSP is doing with the monitoring and the truck rolls. That's missing revenue. They get a better long-term view of the IT needs of their customer. But I think more importantly, there's a lot they can learn from Wayne Viner and VienerX, and in terms of what's happening within that client, and how do we proactively address some of these challenges they're having, to eliminate those challenges, give them a better experience. We all kind of take for granted Amazon. But Amazon's kind of changed the culture, and they made it very simple to do business. And in technology, it's very siloed. You got to call a guy for this and a guy for that. And I've got a person for low voltage, and I got a person that does smart hands and rolls a truck out to my site to fix my server. What if we brought all that together? We can supply the equipment, software as a service, various managed services, mobility. A VienerX relationship means that we can bring to the client a much better relationship, much better environment, to where there's not as much friction. It's easy to do business. We can handle everything you're going to 9 people for with one contact. And I know that's been said before, but we totally mean one contact for almost everything. And your organization was important because you have to have someone you trust when you're walking somebody into your base of clients. And we trusted VienerX, and we made that recommendation, and they love it. Feedback's been outstanding.
Well, thank you for saying that. Thanks for the opportunity. But the reverse of that is true. We've met a lot of your partners, and we see the same alignment, the business ethos, how they got their customers, that they're really in it. You can call them all the time, anytime. So it's a lot of really pro-business people who are still doing, and maybe they do a lot of it themselves or with a few partners, but they're really engaged with what's going on in the partners. And I was surprised at the depth that they knew of the IT situation, even though they weren't providing IT services. So you've got especially the people that you've aligned with us, a very good, solid group of partners.
Yeah, they're very solid. But I think what you add in terms of value is, beyond your expertise, is just the fact that, much like us, you're not there to sell the customer. You're not trying to push something on them. You do take the time, as we do, to understand what's happening in their business and take a look around, start looking at data, and try to deliver a solution to their problem, and not just sell them something. And I think that's what our customers are looking for. They want to be advised. They want to be educated. Nobody wants to be sold to. And the partnership you've had with our team so far has been very positive, and one that I think is very different from what maybe customers are experiencing today, where someone's trying to sell them something all the time.
Well, our people say, what's a good customer? And beyond saying the size of the customer, that is pretty much somebody who actually knows what they're looking for. So when we show you 3 or 4 things, you know what fits for you. And then we become a provider instead of a seller. And we're much more comfortable with that. We want you to like your technology and use it to better your business and make money off of that. Technology shouldn't just be a cost. It should be a way that you execute your business plan and make your dreams come true.
I think so often in technology, Wayne, people get caught up in how cool the technology is, how cool this is, how great this is. Look what it does. But I think what you do that I think is so incredibly valuable is being able to articulate what outcome does this technology drive for your business. And I think that's the piece that's missed all so often in our space. We all get caught up in how great this is and look at what it can do. But if the customer doesn't see a value within their business with that technology, that's not something that they really need to acquire. They're looking to solve problems. And that's a key piece of what you bring to the table with our partners and their customers. And we appreciate that a great deal, because that part of the analysis is often left out. Usually it's sell, sell, sell.
Usually it is, but that's why the tie back to what's your business supposed to do, what was your vision, and then you can line up the technology. The technology by itself, without an anchor, without a reason to be in your business, you can be sold many things. But if you came in with a purpose and you know where you're going, then that really should inform what you buy, why you use it, and then you can measure what you get out of it. And that's, to me, the fun part is that in the end it works. and the customer's happy and went, wow, this helped me. As Mason says, our actual goal should be that you make money off of the technology as a user. It's not just an expense.
I think that's
And
every
I will
business
stick
owner's
with it.
desire, right? And I think there's three key things here that I've seen. You know, one, I think you've been invaluable in helping our partners and their customers drive reduced costs into their business. Everyone wants to find some way to, you know, reduce the cost of their operations. The next part is improving their efficiencies, you know, and making things run better so their business is more efficient. I mean, people are great. You just can't keep throwing people at problems. Eventually you run out of money, right? And so efficiencies becomes important. But there's this other thing now that's come up, and that's customer experience. And people expect a much better experience than most companies in the technology space can provide. I mean, the biggest complaint we get from clients about working with an MSP or an IT supplier is they don't pick up the phone. They can't reach them. And so VienerX has delivered on the cost model piece of it. They delivered on the efficiency piece of it. And certainly the customer experience is where we need it to be, which is one of the key reasons why we're so overjoyed to work with VienerX, with our clients and their trusted advisors.
Rob, thanks. That was beautifully put. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about the relationship here and what you've gained. And I said, you've got a great set of partners, and we really like your strategy. And we're going to check back in as you bring out new ideas about technology. You've done some great work around marketing, bringing marketing products, and bringing in bandwidth ideas of like how to put a truck on the road and have multi-band SIMs in that vehicle to stay online. And you continue to look for the cutting edge that actually is productized enough to just fit into your business. You do a great job with that. So thank you for what you do with the industry. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today, and we'll pick this up in 2026.
I look forward to it, Wayne. Thanks for having me.
All right.